Hello there. In a case that has captured the attention of the nation, I mean, every news outlet in America is reporting on this case frequently, sometimes updating to the minute. Of course, I'm talking about the case of Nancy Guthrie. There are so many updates that happen on a daily basis, and so much information coming from different reporters. It's very difficult to know what is real and what isn't sometimes, but we're going to try to make our way through tonight everything that has happened over the last 24 hours of significance in the case of the missing 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie. So stick with me and we shall get everybody up to speed. Here we go. This video contains mature themes and discussions intended only for adult audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello there, my friend, and welcome back to another True Crime Conversation with me, Gavin Fish. Thank you very much for joining me wherever you're joining me from. Now, normally I say, hey, tell me in the live chat where you're joining me from. But today we're playing a different game, okay? We're playing a different game. It's one that we started over on the Fish Tank on Facebook. If you are on Facebook, you're always welcome to join us over in the Fish Tank. Tonight, I want you to be creative about telling me where you're watching from. Bonus points for sarcasm and delightful comedy. I am coming to you live. I am joining here from Come for the Architecture, Leave for the Warmth, Pennsylvania. You tell me in the live chat where you are joining from. I just absolutely love that. Now, we're continuing coverage. I think this is maybe our 11th or 12th video that we have done on the Nancy Guthrie case. And I'm just going to say for those in the live chat, I'm sorry, we are still kind of limping along technologically here. I have not figured out all the gremlins. One of the issues that I'm having is I can't show live chat on screen, but it's going to be okay. I can read it over on my monitor. We'll be able to make our way through it. And hopefully nothing will break while we're while we're live. But anyway, Nancy Guthrie, 84-year-old mother of Savannah Guthrie and two other children, grandmother, two grandchildren, living in the Tucson, Arizona area, didn't show up for church on February 1st. She was last seen the evening of January 31st when she was dropped off at her home by her family members. And yesterday we learned that all members of Nancy Guthrie's family, including her children-in-law, anybody connected to her, that would include, the landscape people and the pool people and things like that, they have been cleared. Yesterday, when we talked, we were waiting on DNA. There's a little bit extra that we've learned that we're going to get into here in just a minute. But just for the backstory, so we now are past 2 weeks that she has been missing. Multiple notes have been sent to media outlets, including local news outlets in Tucson and TMZ, which is kind of weird in my opinion, but demanding a ransom. The FBI has given a $100,000 reward. They have offered that reward for anybody that helps to find Nancy Guthrie and bring her abductors to justice. And that is where we are. Let's check in with you guys, see where we're coming in from. What do we got? We got Bismarck, North Dakota is in the house. I'm just gonna see if it'll show up. See, it's not showing up down at the bottom. That's okay. Let's see. Hopewell Ceremonial Earthworks in Ohio. Emmy is hoping for no gremlins today. There's just one last gremlin. Emmy is cold in the 40s, San Jose. I was just talking to somebody today saying just at 38 degrees, I didn't even feel like I needed to wear a jacket today. Nikki says happy Tuesday from Bermuda. Thanks for making up-to-date news interesting. My pleasure. Mooney says, coming to you from where our rainwater makes it all the way to the Chesapeake Bay, Virginia. Awesome. Hello, New England. Hello, Fort Worth, Texas. Thank you very much. South of Sweden. Thank you for being here. San Antonio, Texas. Watching from Whiteville, North Carolina. Scotland is in the house. Missouri is in the house. Maryland is here. Canada, the Granite State is here. More in Scotland. Nice. Nyack, New York. From the Mitten State. Not sure where the Mitten State is. That sounds great. Ohio Palm Mom says, it sounds like you need a Wanda. Now listen, after our conversation yesterday in our snafu, Javi had to go under the desk and he was pulling on cables and unplugging things and plugging them back in. Thankfully, I have a Javi that will do that. We talked a little bit about Wanda. I have reached out to Wanda to see if she can play any musical instruments, because I do think that maybe we need somebody who can play a little transition music, somebody that when I'm going into my sentimental nostalgia tangents might be able to give us a little something, to indicate that's what's happening. So I've reached out to Wanda. We'll see what she is capable of doing. Refreshified. Beantown is in the house. Glad you're here. Watching from a town in Indiana that Steve Martin called the stinkiest city he's ever been to. Let's see. Come for the warmth in the summer, leave for the hurricanes in the fall. Florida. Very nice. What do we got? Georgia. Foshnot's Coma, Lancaster County. Nice. I'm from a state where Michael Jordan played in his college years. Garth is from North Carolina, obviously. Tar Heel, Delaware. We've got Brisbane, Australia, San Antonio. So, guys, thanks for checking in. Appreciate that. That's always fun for me. I love that part. And even if you're in the rewatch crew, you're not on the live, please tell me where you're tuning in from. Be creative about it. Okay, come with me, if you will, over to the old Acrobat, where I'm going to bring up this article from Brian Entin, Steph Whiteside, and Libby Dean. This is from News Nation, and this has a little piece that I wanna read for you. But let's just, and this is from yesterday, from last night. I'm going to go ahead and skip down to the middle here. Brian Entin is reporting that he has learned through investigative journalism. This has not come from any official source. That has not come from Sheriff Nanos, to my knowledge. Does not come from the FBI, because the FBI doesn't say anything ever. Brian Entin is reporting FBI visits gun stores with 40-person ID list in the Nancy Guthrie investigation. News Nation's Brian Entin reports the FBI agents have visited several gun stores in the Tucson area with a list of 40 names and photographs, asking employees whether any of the individuals have been in the stores or purchased weapons. Now, what does this mean? This is speculation by yours truly, okay? But the FBI does have images of the masked marauder that was on Nancy Guthrie's front porch in the early morning hours of the day that she went missing. They know his build. They know his height. They say he's between 5'9" and 5'10" with a medium build. Looks like it's somebody with a beard. My guess is they probably have, this is just a guess, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the live chat as to what you think might be happening here. Here's a picture on screen that just looks, you can see this guy. You can see the way he's carrying his gun. It's the weirdest thing ever. But I think that they're looking possibly at either, probably people in a criminal database that fit that description. It's possible that this may have come from some sort of DNA evidence. But I don't think it's that. I think it is, okay, we're just going to investigate and we're going to chase down every lead. Maybe they got a lead that said, I know that he purchased that gun, on Tuesday or whatever. Maybe they got a lead like that. But my guess is they have people with firearms violations or some other, probably not firearms violations, but something else that have gone in to try to attempt to purchase a weapon or look at weapons, and they're just trying to see if they can find somebody. And to me, I don't want to say desperation, but it kind of signals that they don't have the forensic leads that they wish they had. And again, this is just some dude in Podunk, Western Pennsylvania, yours truly, just kind of speculating here. But if the FBI is doing that, they're on some level of some belief that he may have attempted to purchase or did purchase that weapon recently, and they're hoping that they might be able to get a lead on that. That's my only thought there. Next piece of news of the day that I'd like to bring you is also from News Nation, also from Steph Whiteside and Brian Entin. No CODIS match on DNA from glove, sheriff said. Now, over in the fish tank, Pat Burt Long, I always wonder if I get that wrong. Is it Pat Burt Long or Pat Long Burt? It's Pat Long Burt. I always do that backwards. It's like Justice... oh my goodness. You know what is happening to me right now? You guys know what I'm about to play.
It's a brain fart.
Yes, Justice Brown Jackson. I always get that. I always want to say Justice Jackson Brown. But Pat Longbert over in the fish tank has been reminding us pretty darn frequently that, look, the glove may or may not be connected. So far, in her mind, she said it's not connected unless DNA connects it. And rightly so. She's been pointing that out over in the tank. I've been cheering her on as she's been doing that. But getting back to Steph and Brian's article, the Dateline News Nation, DNA from gloves found near Nancy Guthrie's house did not get a hit in CODIS, the FBI's database for DNA from criminal offenders. Not just criminal offenders, if I can just kind of be a little bit of a quibbler. What am I?
Professional quibbler here.
Correct. That's exactly what I am. So if I'm just going to quibble for a little bit, it's not just criminal offenders. It's people who have been arrested as well in some cases. Yeah. But anyway, the Pima County Sheriff's Office confirmed Tuesday that the DNA was submitted to a lab in Florida and then uploaded to the system in search of a match. The department said that additional DNA found at the residence is also being analyzed. The search for Guthrie has now entered a third week, with investigators also working to identify a suspect based on surveillance videos and photos. Blah, blah, blah. Monday, investigators publicly stated the family, including spouses of family members, had been cleared in the investigation. In Tuesday's statement, the sheriff's office said at this point in the investigation, no family members have been identified as suspects. In addition to pursuing DNA evidence, authorities have been working to use videos from a camera at Nancy Guthrie's front door, which we know. He continues, the FBI agents visited gun stores in the area with a list of roughly 40 names and photographs. So yeah, the glove that was discovered about 2 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's house, the DNA did not match the CODIS database. Now, we talked about this a little bit. Well, we talked about it at length yesterday, but just real quickly, that means that they can't find a one-to-one match with their database, the combined national database system, right? The index, the DNA index. So that just means that there's nobody with that DNA that has been arrested or has been convicted anywhere in the United States, at least, that is in the CODIS database. I think there are probably holes in the database. I, I, I'm a I'm a database architect. That's one of the pieces of training I got in my education. So I would just imagine that there is missing data in CODIS, but for the most part, that doesn't match. And what does that mean? Well, it could mean that it has nothing to do with the case. It could mean, I've watched reporting about the area. This is an area where custom homes are built. They're 1 to 4 acre properties, and custom homes are built. It's not like a master planned community by a huge developer, right? So, and uh, people are building homes, and construction workers use those gloves. Crying out loud, I have black nitrile gloves that I use sometimes when I'm doing my arts and crafts and working on cars and stuff like that. So it's a very common glove. It could be that those gloves have nothing to do with the case. On the other hand, it could also be that that glove was discarded by somebody who was involved in this case and does not have a criminal record, does not have an arrest history, whose DNA has not been uploaded to CODIS. That's where we are on that. And I think that they will continue to. Let me get back to. Let's bring up a picture of Nancy Guthrie. I think. I think there's. Yeah, I think they will probably take that same DNA and work on the genetic genealogy side of it next. But anyway, okay, the next little bit that I wanted to share with you guys, and actually let me just pause for a second while we've got Nancy's picture up here and see what you guys are saying. Ohio Palm Mom, I'm currently serving my canine and feline overlords in the culinary hub of our home. Nice. From San Antonio, where winter lasts 3 days and we still panic. Very nice. Very, very nice. Yeah, Autumn, I saw that video in Slack. To me, I didn't want to report the video on tonight's episode because it felt like it was kind of in the rough, not in the fair way of the case. But Autumn says that she thinks it's him. What is it? Joel says there was a gun show in the area in the past months. If he bought from the gun show, no background check is done. Is that still true? Let me see. Do gun shows have what is it? Background checks in Arizona? Let's say. It should be federal, but let's see. Okay, you're right about this. In Arizona, gun shows require background checks only if the seller is a federally licensed firearm dealer. Private, unlicensed individuals selling guns at these shows are not required by Arizona law to conduct background checks. Recent 2024 federal rule changes aim to classify more of these sellers as dealers, require them to. Wow, okay. So, great comment. It does seem that could be the case. The other thing, by the way, is people can gift firearms, and there's no background check on that sort of stuff. I mean, it's been so long since that was even part of my life, but like, if my brother knows that I want a particular firearm and he loves me very much, he might buy it and give it to me for my birthday. Now, if he buys it through a dealer, then there would be a background check on him. But yeah, there certainly are ways that that kind of skirt those federal rules. See if anything else is showing up in the old live stream. When will you be on Josh Ritter's show? Yeah, again, that's been kind of pushed back. Maybe next week. Because of the Guthrie case, he is in Tucson on behalf of Fox News. And so his schedule is kind of all over the place right now. So I don't know. Maybe next week. We shall see. See if there's anything else. No, there's not. Okay, let's go back to the next piece that I wanted to bring to you. This from NBC News from Pilar Melendez. Wrong button, Gavin. This button, Gavin. That was not Javi's fault. That was Gavin's fault. Okay, evidence from search warrants executed last week is still being processed, Sheriff's Department says. This was from today at 2:21 p.m. Eastern Time, so about 4 hours ago. Evidence from 2 search warrants executed last week in connection with the Guthrie investigation is still being processed, the Sheriff's Department said today. Quote, the individuals who were questioned have been released and no arrests have been made. Remember that there was a detention, at least to my memory, in 2 separate incidents of 4 people. And some of those people may have just been incidental to the one person that they were, interested in. But 4 people to my count, right? So the department says, as this investigation continues, you can expect to see similar activity. The department also said that investigators have not confirmed how many leads they are actively pursuing. Regarding gun shops, they said, this is a quote, investigators are canvassing businesses and showing the doorbell video released by the FBI to determine whether the suspect appears familiar, the department added. So they're like, there's not 40, blah, blah, blah. They're just, yeah. Investigators are working with Walmart management to identify and isolate the individual who purchased the backpack, the department added. So there are lots of, there's lots of stuff that they're working on. Now, those search warrants that they executed at 2 separate homes on 2 separate occasions, at least according to the headline, evidence from 2 search warrants executed last week in connection with the Guthrie investigation is still being processed. So that tells me that they brought evidence out. What could that evidence be? Could be computers, could be devices like phones, tablets, mobile devices. Could be just your regular run-of-the-mill forensic stuff. Could be fingerprints. Could be cheek swabs, buccal swabs for DNA. And they said we can expect more activity like this. So just because those and I don't want everybody to think, hey, Gavin thinks these people are guilty, but just because those people who were detained were not arrested doesn't mean that they have stopped being persons of interest. It also could be that they have stopped being persons of interest, but from what we're reading from NBC, they collected evidence and they're going through that and they're processing it. Okay, the last little bit that I want to share with you guys has to do with what we were talking about yesterday. This again from NBC News. Pushing the right button brings us to the right screen. After gloves yield no hits, this from today at 4:30 p.m., about 2 hours ago, Eastern Time, investigators turned to DNA at home and genealogy, this being reported by Liz Kreutz from Tucson. The Pima County Sheriff said that even though DNA from gloves found in the Guthrie investigation yielded no hits on databases, that's not the end. Now we start with genealogy and some of the partial DNA we have at the home, Nano said in an interview today. Partial DNA. Let me tell you what I think that means. Okay, so in the human body, in each one of our cells, there are 23 different chromosomal pairs, meaning we have 46 chromosomes in our genetic makeup, right? Oftentimes when we look at DNA reports, they will note that this allele is weaker or they didn't pick up anything from this allele. It doesn't necessarily, when they say partial DNA, that doesn't necessarily mean, oh, it's compromised DNA or it's not going to yield any results. It probably just means, hey, different parts of the genetic material did not respond well to amplification and testing. but they've got 46 tries. And when we're talking about genetic genealogy, actually, when we're talking about the kind of what are they called? Simple tandem repeats. When we're talking about the STIRS, the kind of testing that they do for CODIS, they're only looking at 20 different spots in the genome. And if many of those spots are partial, then yeah, it can become kind of difficult. But when we're talking about genetic genealogy, when we're talking about hundreds of thousands of places within our genome, partial doesn't bother me all that much. But again, just with the caveat that I am not an investigator, right? I am a layperson who has talked to investigators, and that's it. Okay, so continuing again, let me just repeat this. Now we start with genealogy and some of the partial DNA we have at the home, Nano said in an interview today. Continuing the quote, to me, that's more crucial than any glove I found 2 miles away. I'm not dismissing the glove 2 miles away, but I have gloves 5 miles away, 10 miles away, so we prioritize, he said. Nanos did not say where in the home the DNA was found. Quote, we believe that we may have some DNA there that may be our suspect, but we won't know until that DNA is separated, sorted out, maybe admitted to CODIS, maybe through genealogy, Nanos said. CODIS is the Combined DNA Index System, a database run by the FBI that has federal and local information about DNA profiles, including those of convicted offenders and evidence collected at scenes of unsolved cases, and in some cases I would add arrestees because it's the combined, basically there used to be all these different databases and different localities have different statutes, different states have different statutes. Some of them take DNA from arrestees, and that goes up to CODIS as well. So the genealogy part of it is really fascinating, and it's going to take a little bit longer as they go through the copying system. Let me actually just describe this because this is interesting. In the 1970s, I want to say, a pair of scientists won the Nobel Prize for discovering that they could copy DNA. And the way that they figured this out is like, in order to break apart cells, you need heat. But when you apply heat, the enzyme in the human body that is activated in order to split a cell and copy DNA during replication does not survive the heating process. But these scientists discovered the same enzyme exists in biological creatures that live deep in the ocean next to lava vents. They live in high heat areas. And so by using the enzyme extracted from those creatures and put into the soup of DNA, it does activate human DNA's copying function. And so, and this process is called PCA, if I remember correctly. But anyway, so what happens is if you have one cell and you copy it using PCA, at the end you will have two cells, which gives you two copies of DNA. If you do that process again, you have 4, and you do that again, you have 8, and so on and so forth, right? It increases exponentially. So what they have to do now that process of raising the temperature and lowering the temperature really only takes a few minutes. But in order to really amplify that DNA to a place where they have enough of it and they've got a strong signal on that DNA, they have to have millions and millions and millions of copies of that DNA. So it takes time. And then once they do that, there's a whole process of extracting it and all that stuff. So it's really fascinating, the whole genetic genealogy side of it. And then once it's uploaded to GEDmatch, then it becomes just a genealogy experiment, right? Somebody who has to track that down. We talked about that kind of at length yesterday. I need to remember the name of that scientist. Who developed PCA in genetics and won the Nobel Prize? I can't remember what his name was. No. Is that Carrie Mullis? Oh, PCR is what it's called. Polymerase chain reaction. PCR. Sorry about that. So yeah, it was Carrie Mullis, who's an American biochemist. He developed PCR, polymerase chain reaction, the technique in 1983. He was awarded the 93 Nobel Prize in Chemistry for the invention. So, and that PCR technique has really not changed since 1983. Pretty cool. Okie dokie. Is there anything else in that article that I wanted to share with you guys? I think that's about it. Unless you guys have some questions, let me head on over to your chat here. Liba Grizzly says, "Nice to see you. Glad you got rid of the gremlins. I just have one gremlin left. Just one gremlin. Just Ducky, how close do you think the bad guy is following the news and live stream? I think they're following it. I think that now there are certain things that they will have to do in order to keep Nancy Guthrie safe and themselves safe, and that is they have to be disconnected. They have to be off grid. They cannot be connected to the internet. They cannot have devices, right? Have you guys watched? Is it called Zero Dark 30? How they tracked down Osama bin Laden. Doesn't matter. Gavin, you know what that was, everybody? That was a tangent. I apologize. Anyway, they're going to have to be offline, disconnected from the grid, and somebody would be, traveling to a place where they feel is safe to be able to follow the news. But yeah, I do. I think they're following the news for sure. And Autumn and Mooney and Robin all agree with me. Hey, good to see Tiff Ritter in the chat. Thanks for being here, Tiff. Let's see if there's anything else. Just Ducky, thank you very much for sending that gift membership. Thank you very much for doing that. Joy says, Gavin, I did the Locks of Love haircut today. I had 14 inches taken off. Good for you. That's awesome. I'm working towards donating my hair myself. Good job. Meredith says, I loved your old tangent jingle. Well, listen, it's still there. I've just got options here. Hang on.
Attention! Attention!
Yeah, I've got options now. I wanted to spice it up a little bit. Okay, guys, that's what we've got for you as far as the news of the Nancy Guthrie investigation, though I do want to just check any live developments, maybe over on NBC. Let me just check one more time. Well, yeah, here is an update that a lot of people have been talking about over in the fish tank. Let me bring up the website here. This is from 27 minutes ago. Suspect may be wearing a ring in photo, sheriff says. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nano said today that he has seen a photo that could show the suspect in the Guthrie case wearing a ring, but that he has sent it to his investigators. I look at the same photo you look at, and I see it, Nano said in an interview today. I'm going to give that to my team. They'll look at it, they'll analyze it, and we'll see. Maybe it is, and then kind of trailed off. So, yes. Oh, the other one from a couple hours ago, Sheriff's Department said today that investigators are trying to find Guthrie's pacemaker and are working with the manufacturer and other experts in the field to assist. So, yeah, they are continuing on their quest to find Mrs. Guthrie. With that, guys, what time is it? I think it's time for some 3 questions. Let's go.
3 questions with Gavin Fish.
Okie dokie. In the three questions segment, you guys know how it goes, but for those of you who are new, I answer three questions that you send in to me at threequestions@gavinfish.com. Three questions@gavinfish.com. Just spell it all out. THREE questions@gavinfish.com. And I choose three of them. You can send one, you can send 100. I think I'm down to about half a dozen questions at this point. So if you guys want to load me up, please do so by emailing it to threequestions@gavinfish.com. I do not answer them in the order they are received. I answer them in the order that tickles me old fancy. And yeah, I put them into a spreadsheet and I look over them. I'll answer all of them eventually. But yeah, send them my way. And one of the things that I really love is to choose questions that you could answer in the live chat or in the comments along the way, because I don't know. I think it's delightful. I want to hear from you guys too. So here's a question. Question number one: if you could be an Olympian, what would your sport be? This can be a sport you can't even do. It's a dream. Okay, I've got two ideas here. Okay, two ideas. Number one is the ski jump, the long jump, the one where they like put the skis out like this and they fly in there like in skin tight suits. And man, they're going a long distance, man. It looks so scary, but it's flight. And I'm all about flight. I also read a hilarious article that talked about cheating in that sport. Apparently, the fit of I'm going to try to be sensitive here, but the fit of that tight spandex suit, the crotchular region only has to go up as far as the dangly bits hang down. And so athletes have been doping to make the dangly bits danglier so that they can have a lower crotch area so they can get greater lift. And I don't know, for some reason that just tickles me that they're finding new and innovative ways to cheat. I would be the guy. No, I wouldn't. Gavin, just stop. Stop it right there. But so that would be sport number one. Sport number two has to do with the number one sign that I'm holding up right now. I want to be the curling guy that, because the rules don't allow for video replays, I want to be the curling guy that touches the stone after I've let go of it and then like adamantly cusses out the guy who calls him on it. I want to be that guy. So yeah, the long jump, long ski jump, and curling would be my sports of choice. Tell me in the chat what you would do as an Olympian. Now I'm just going like winter sports here, right? I'm going winter sports. Now summer sports, I want to be are they called coxswains? The guys who sit at the front of the little boat and with the bullhorn tells everybody how to row. Now, I'm 6'2" and at one point pushed like 280. So that boat would be going like on an endo as they're like just struggling to push the boat through. But I think that would be good TV. I think that would be, and the Olympics are a TV show. Let's not forget, right? It's entertainment. And I don't want to belittle our Olympic heroes, but I mean, that's what it is. It's a TV show. It'd be good TV. All right, tell me what you would do in the Olympics. What just happened? Gavin, there we go. All right, question number two is from Teresa. Oh, who asked the previous question? Who was that? That was Jude. Okay. The question number two is from Teresa. What is the worst job you ever had? Worst job I ever had. You guys got to tell me, put GF in your comments so that I can see it on my end. What's the worst job you've ever had? I don't know. I think the worst job, the job that people would think would be the worst job, was when I was a little kid. In the town that I grew up in, everybody helped during the mink harvest, the pelting season. I know it's horrible, but it's the way it was. So I would occasionally, with a wheelbarrow, as a little kid, I would deliver the wheelbarrows full of dead carcasses of dead mink whose bodies had just been snuffed out. I would deliver them from the sheds, from the snuffer to the pelter. But honestly, at the time, I enjoyed it. I worked as a stock boy at Susie's Casuals in Sunrise Mall, Citrus Heights, California, in the 90s. And, this was like I had to get a work permit. I was in high school. I wasn't quite 16 yet. And Susie's Casuals, for those who don't know, is a women's clothing store. And all of the women that I worked with, I was the only boy until my friend, I won't name his name because I don't have his permission, he got a job as a stock boy too there. And he and I got up to many shenanigans because we were teenage boys. But the other employees were all women and they all just seemed so old. I think the oldest had her 30th birthday while I was working there. That was kind of a crappy job, just like, unpacking dresses and pantsuits and blouses and stuff like that, putting them on racks, steaming them, getting them all like wrinkle free and delivering them into the store. That wasn't that fun of a job. However, my friend worked at the sweet factory right next door, and she was all about giving away as many sweets as we wanted because they didn't have an inventory system there. Oh, I was a horrible guy, man. I need to repent of this. The amount of chocolate licorice that I absconded with from the sweet factory is criminal and probably raised to the level of grand theft over the years that I worked there. Not cool, man. And I had a conspiracy friend, a conspirator. I had a conspirator, but boy, did I eat lots of like sour gummies and lemon drops and so much chocolate licorice, just so much. So that I'd go on my break, hey, and I won't say her name because she needs to remain innocent in the eyes of her children. You mind if I take it? Yeah, I grab a giant bag of candy from the sweet factory. See, this is where we need Wanda. I hope Wanda gets back to me. We need Wanda to play like the Gavin getting sentimental music as I tell those stories. But tell me in the live chat your worst job ever. I'm curious about that. Question number 3 from Diane. Would you consider writing a children's book? Well, let me consider it for a moment. What would I write a children's book about? I sure. I I don't think it would be good. I don't think it would be a particularly good seller. But maybe you guys have ideas of what would be a good children's. What would be the premise that we would write it under? I mean, um, uh, yeah. I just can't even think of anything. Oh, how about a naughty teenager who would convince all the cute girls in high school to let him drive their amazing cars, their Ford's Mustang and their Honda's CRXs and their Honda's Preludes and their Pontiac's Fiero. Oh, I drove so many cool cars. Their mini trucks before he had his own license, just that kind of. But then we would have to make it a lesson for the kiddos of what not to do. I don't know. What is your premise? Tell me what your premise is, and maybe I could write that book. I am a good writer and I'm a fast writer. I just need to know the premise first. And while you guys are telling me the answers to these 3 questions, let's wrap up by reading some headlines. Here we go. pow. Okie dokie. This one from our very own Crime Cod. Guys, if you... wrong button, Gavin. This is the button. If you... not Javi's fault. I should just hashtag not Javi's fault. If you don't know what crimecod.com is, that is a website that I publish that is a true crime website, and it is full of terrific writing, including this article from Jacob Charles, a sad one. Police say Utah cheer mom shot daughter before killing herself at Las Vegas resort. Oh my goodness. Dateline Las Vegas. A Utah mother, I'm gonna clean this up for YouTube. A Utah mother and her preteen daughter who traveled to Las Vegas for a cheer competition were found dead Sunday inside a hotel room at the Rio Hotel and Casino in what police are investigating as apparent murder and self-unaliving. Homicide detectives with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department responded to a welfare check request at the resort west of the Las Vegas Strip around 10:45 a.m. Officers were asked to check on Tanya McGeehan and her daughter Addie Smith after family members and friends reported they had not shown up to their scheduled competition. And police and hotel security went to the room, knocked several times, calling out to the occupants, attempted to reach them, receiving no response, and lacking sufficient cause to force entry. Officers advised hotel security and left the property. They continued the outreach, and then ultimately they made entry, and they discovered that they believed that at some point Saturday night, the mother unalived her little girl. It just, I don't want anybody to remove themselves from humanity. I don't want anybody to remove themselves from the planet. I want them to live happily and with the people that they love. But if they're going to do it, don't do it with others too. It just boggles, man. It boggles the mind. This one, I was about to say happy news. It's not happy, but it is a silver lining from News Nation, written by Ryan Mency. DNA on cigarette leads to conviction. Nearly 44 years after 13-year-old Sarah Greer was brutally R-worded and strangled to death in Cloverdale, California, the girl's murderer has been convicted, announced the Sonoma County DA's office. On Friday, a Sonoma County jury found 66-year-old James Oliver Unick guilty of the May 1982 murder and determined that he also committed an SA during the commission of that murder. Unick, man, I wish his name were literal. She would still be alive. Unick was ultimately identified as the suspect and arrested on July 22nd, 2024, after a cigarette he had smoked was collected by FBI agents and analyzed to be a match of DNA evidence at the scene of the murder. So that is a silver lining from News Nation. And then from Court TV, just because we're kind of following this case, I mean, I try to be politically free, politics free here on the channel, but it's a person of fame, I guess, of notoriety here in the States. This is an AP report. Ex-husband of former First Lady Jill Biden pleads not guilty in wife's death. Wilmington, Delaware, which is in the greater Philadelphia area, right across the border. The long-ago first husband of former First Lady Jill Biden pleaded not guilty Tuesday to charges he killed his current wife in Delaware. William Stevenson, 77, was married to Jill Biden from 1970 to 1975. So they have been divorced for some 50 years. This shall not be a reflection on Dr. Jill or any of the Biden family. A state grand jury this month charged Stevenson with killing Linda Stevenson, 64, who was found unresponsive at their home in Wilmington on December 28th. He has remained in custody since he was charged February 3rd with murder, unable to post the $2 million bail. Stevenson appeared at Tuesday's court hearing in Wilmington on a remote video camera. His lawyer, a public defender, did not immediately return messages seeking comment, and don't hold your breath, AP. His next court hearing is set for March 16th. William Stevenson founded the Stone Balloon, a popular music venue in Newark, Delaware in the early 70s. Linda Stevenson ran a bookkeeping business. I guess that doesn't really matter, all that stuff. Anyway, he has pleaded, there is his face right there, not guilty to the murder of his spouse. Those guys are your headlines.
True crime headlines.
Okie dokie. Let us check in on what you're saying. Emmy Nikolov says, I would be a figure skater. You would be, I bet you would be gorgeous out there, Emmy. Let's see. Who else has a thing? Child of God 3675 says, McDonald's 2 times, 2 different places, 2 different states. That was the worst job ever. Just Ducky says, worst job not having one. Even a sucky job gets you money. This is true. This is true. And you can always find the silver lining. I don't think I've ever had a job that I didn't like. Barb Olson says, Gavin, pantsuits, that ages a person. Indeed. I just remember as a 15-year-old going, man, these women are old, man. I can see their faces, but I can't remember any of their names. My manager was awesome. And then there was I won't share that part of the story, but there was another colorful character, and yeah, they were like 30 years old. And I remember thinking, man, they are so old. Garth B. Nutt says, write a book about fishes. Duh. Okay. Mooney says, question number 1, snowboard halfpipe would be your sport of choice. 2, spoon-bred girl at the country inn. Spoon-bred girl at a country inn. I don't even know what that is. And then to the third question, wrote an illustrated children's book in college. You could write Uncle Gavin's Rules of Growing Up. Ooh! Uncle Gavin's Rules of Growing Up. I like it. I like it. Emmy says, Brian Entin just talked to the Pima County Sheriff. I'm always checking out Brian's reporting. He is a terrific investigative reporter. Archangel says, Gavin, in the Olympics, I would do archery. That would be fun. Worst job, there's no bad job, just bad bosses for me at least. Good job. That's good. That's a good attitude. Ohio Palm Mom says, I would want to be a figure skater and equestrian. I scrubbed dog kennels as a teen, but didn't think it was terrible. Writing a book would be interesting, but I don't know what premise. Mooney says, Uncle Gavin's Advice, a funnies book, maybe not just for children. Advice from Uncle Gavin. You know, maybe I should write Uncle Gavin's, hey kids, it's Uncle Gavin, and I can put it in the, I can put it in the, in the swag store, maybe. Let's see. Kelsey Adams says, running behind, joining, but I am from Utah, aka we don't know how to pronounce our T. That is true. You don't. You don't know how to. And I am a child who was born in Utah, spent the first 8 years of my life there, and then every summer and every winter, all the time I was growing up and well into my adulthood, Utah, that Rocky Mountain West accent is very specific. Yes. Also, I've noticed that in Utah, you don't know how to pronounce the long E. It always comes out as an I, like get real. Really? Yeah, that, anyway. Kelsey, glad to hear from you. God's Secretary says, write about a crime-fighting fish. Oh, a crime-fighting like karate fish, maybe. Bump says, from Kansas, home of the world's largest ball of twine. Not much else. That's a pretty good place to be from. Reality Vacation. Gavin, worst job was in the mortgage department of a bank. It was interesting, but an absolutely cutthroat atmosphere. You know what? I worked as a mortgage banker for a short time. I was no good at it for very good reasons. Yeah. Bizarro folk in a really unimaginative way. Apologies to the financial people. That is a great comment. Reality Vacation. Guys, thanks so much for joining me today. Remember that you can always reach out to me on my website, gavinfish.com, which is, here, I'll show it on the camera here since I've got that capability today. You can read all the latest Crime Cod articles, and every once in a while, maybe once a month, I will write a blog post. Really, it's more of like a column. Also, the site has a very deep set of case pages on cases that matter to me and that I look into. And then, of course, you can contact me by clicking on this little envelope, and join us over in the fish tank by clicking on the fishy. The fish tank is where we hang out on Facebook. It looks like this. If you search Gavin Fish or the fish tank or Gavin Fish, the fish tank, you will definitely find us over there, and you are more than welcome. You are cordially invited to join us. I do want to thank people who are joining me on Spotify. I have recently begun uploading the videos. When I'm done here on YouTube, I upload them to Spotify, and I'm deeply grateful to those of you who are following me over there. If you do have a Spotify account and you're over on there, I encourage you to follow me there. That it's a free way, an easy way to help my channel grow over on Spotify, and for that matter, all of the socials. Thank you guys for your support on that stuff. We will be back tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern right here on this channel. And until then, I bid you adieu, and I hope to see you then. Good night. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.